Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the Model Railway News. I'm coming at you with all of the latest industry news from November. Now obviously we're getting dangerously close to Christmas now, yes, which means all of the manufacturers are gearing up for their busiest time of the year. Now both Hornby and Bachmann have announced new product ranges, which I'm going to go through, in which Hornby reduced some of its prices. Does this work with plastic bags? Couldn't find the paper one. But yeah, Hornby lowering prices. Has Santa Claus already been? I hope not. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a second. First, let's talk about Bachmann's range launch while I get my breath back. Turns out it's a bad idea to breathe out of a plastic bag. Right, so the first thing I want to say about Bachmann's announcement is the presentation. Now, I've been quite critical of Bachmann's presentations when I didn't think they were very good. So now that I think they've done a lot better, I think it's only fair that I say so too. For whatever reason, they had Gary Boyd Hope present it this time, and I have to say, and others agreed in the comments, I think he did a great job of it. He had a nice casual delivery with plenty of warmth and enthusiasm, which is just what Dr. Sam ordered, I think.
They may have noticed that as the British Railway announcements have grown, we've announced a number of new tooling projects or significant news stories, such as the major upgrades to the branch line Class 47, away from this regular quarterly slot.
Alright, but what about the announcements themselves then? Well, they did actually announce a brand new train pack under the EFE Rail brand, and it actually looks really good. So they've announced a brand new Class 313 and 314 EMU, which is available as a 3-car set in a good variety of different liveries. I've counted at least 10 different looking liveries, plus some of them that are repeated with variations and whatnot. Features include a manual pantograph, so it's not automated or anything, but that's friendly for the wallet, of course. It's got wire handrails around the doors, apparently. Mechanically, it's driven by the centre car, and it runs a coreless motor which drives both of the bogies, so that's a step up from Bachmann's older EMUs and DMUs. The chassis is made from die-cast metal, so it ought to be heavy, although looking at this photo, it does look as though the interior has been compromised by that chassis, so that's a pity. It also has a pre-fitted speaker, and all vehicles have full lighting, plus they're connected together electrically so that you only need one decoder, not 3. Again, that's quite friendly on the wallet, isn't it? But the biggest shock here is the price itself. Now, EFE Rail and certainly Bachmann, goodness be Bachmann, are not known for their reasonable prices. So I was quite surprised to see that the RRP for this 3-car set is £349.95, or at the retailers you can get them for £297.45. That is about £100 per vehicle, which is very competitive if you compare it with other EMUs. Even Dapol have been beaten by this, and Dapol are usually the best value in my opinion. Their Class 323 works out at £102.44 per car, which is a bit more. And then obviously we've got things like the Accurascale Electrostar, which costs much more at £125 per car. So I was not expecting to see anything that Bachmann has touched be considered reasonably good value for money, but here we have something that really does seem to be fairly priced. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be arriving in Q2 2026, I think they said, so the development's done. It's quite close to the end of the project, which is great, and obviously pre-orders are open for it. So if you want to check those out, affiliate links down in the description. Another one that's attracted quite a lot of comments is their BR Lab 10 or Laboratory 10 coach, which housed equipment and a generator, I believe, that sort of thing. It is part of Bachmann's Collectors Club and the full price is £67.95. But a lot of people have pointed out inaccuracies in this model, and I decided I would investigate that, and they're absolutely right. One of the key features of the Lab 10 coach is this sort of viewing window in one end, which the model does not have. It is missing that very key detail. which is just baffling to me. I mean, if Bachmann expects anybody to buy a coach with a full price of £70, a coach, by the way, that doesn't even appear to have lighting, it sure as heck better be accurate, and this doesn't seem to be. So I think we'll be giving that one a miss, and it's a good job it's part of the Collectors Club, isn't it? Because if it was a public release, I don't think they would sell very many. A common defence of some of Bachmann's ridiculous prices is that at least their models are good. But if this model isn't accurate, then it can't be argued, I don't think, that this model is good. So hopefully Bachmann go back to the drawing board with that one. And yes, I will not be buying one, partly because I'm not part of the Collectors Club, partly because I wouldn't dream of it. Anyway, moving on. They also revealed decorated samples for their Class 13. There you go. So now the two people who were thinking of buying one can see exactly what they look like. You're very welcome for that. In N-Gage news, they revealed decorated samples of that new Hall class they announced the other month, which really does look super. I mean, look at this thing. How fantastic does that look? If it wasn't for the coupling rods and the crank pins, which, look at the photos, they don't look great, do they? I'm sure we've seen finer in N-Scale. But if it wasn't for those, I'd have trouble telling that this was N-Gage. It looks as detailed as a 00 model. As well it should, of course, given the absolutely crazy price for it. Somewhat more reasonably priced though is this. They've brought back their N-Gage C-Class in the SECR green. I mean, this looks absolutely amazing, and it's only £154.95 RRP, or at the retailers £131.70. Now, given that the 00 C-Class, when that last surfaced, cost over £200 to buy, this seems crazily reasonable. So I'd love to hear from the people who keep insisting to me that smaller models cost the same as bigger models, because in this case, that does not seem to be true. In fact, far from it. This seems very fair. So if you're interested in the rest of Bachmann's range, they have announced quite a lot of models which are coming back into the range. Affiliate links down in the description. Right, let's move on then and talk about Hornby. So they announced a new range of models. I say new, none of this is new tooled. As far as I know, most of it is just returning to the range. But like I said at the start, take a deep breath, some of their prices have actually gone down. So the Class 37, for example, previously this cost £96.99, but the newly announced ones are £94.99, or just £85 at the retailers. Now, yes, it's only a few pounds cheaper, but it's a few pounds cheaper. The price is not the same, the price has not gone up, it's actually gone down, which is something we've not seen probably for at least, well, ever. Have we ever seen prices go down in this industry? I don't think so. This also includes one in this BR Police livery, which is a fascinatingly strange but delightful livery. Apparently this featured in an advert back in the day, and it comes fitted with sound, which includes a police siren. So this has got a custom sound profile. It's not just the typical Class 37 one. Plus, it also has a working police light on the top, which is really interesting. That means that this model is not just a repaint, it's not just a re-livery. They've actually had to modify this loco to actually put lighting onto it, which I don't think it's ever had before. Plus, the price is very, very fair, I think. £149.99 is the full price for a model with sound and lighting. Go Hornby, that's awesome. And of course, it's even less at the retailers at £134.99. To me, that seems a bargain. But it's not just the Class 37s that have seen a reduction in price. The Class 47 is back. These used to cost £96.99. They are now £94.99. Again, only a bit cheaper, but they are cheaper. And at the retailers, you can buy these brand new models in the Railroad Plus range for £85. I think that's brilliant. Same thing with the Railroad Class 31. This is even cheaper. This has an RRP of £89.99, or just £80 at the retailers. Brand new released loco for £80. Yes, it's Railroad. Yes, it's basic. But it looks nicely painted, and it's £80. It looks fantastic in the grey. You can even get a sound version for £130 at the retailers. I'm mind blown by this. This is exactly what Hornby should be doing, I think. Now, their premium models are still really expensive, so they've announced a BR Black version of their new Saint class, which is quite interesting. It says it's due in February next year. This is the same price as it was though, so £234.99 RRP, or $211 at the retailers. It's an absolute fortune, of course, but until this model drops, or at least until the first of the Saint classes drop, we don't know if it's going to be worth that money or not. It's going to have to do a lot of work if it's going to be worth that money, but we don't know, so we shall see. There's lots more, of course. The return of the M7, which is wildly expensive. I don't recommend paying nearly £200 for this. Ditto the Patriot. It's a lovely model, but it's quite old and it doesn't have the features that it would need in order to justify well over £200. Nice as it does look once again. So the premium models still very, very expensive, but the lower end, the budget models, seem to be getting more reasonable, which is great to see from Hornby. So if you want to pre-order one of these bargain railroad locos, affiliate links down in the description. Next up then, let's talk about Dapol, and there's quite a lot of big news from Dapol. The first bit of news you might not have seen, but it's actually kind of crazy. So they've announced a new range of Christmas wagons on their website, all sorts of different gauges, well, at least we've got N, O, and O, and they look lovely, of course, they're fun Christmas wagons, but there's a gimmick. They are customizable. So you can take any of these wagons, you can type what you want on the side. I'd be interested to know how far they would go in what they're willing to accept here, but let's keep it reasonable for all of our sakes. And then Dapol will make it for you. Now, we've seen this before in the industry, of course, but it usually costs quite a lot of money. But where Dapol are concerned, unlike some of the other manufacturers, these are really, really cheap. For custom items, they are unbelievably cheap. So the Accurascale version you can get for £15.20. That's only a few pounds more than the standard off-the-shelf version of these models. So what an awesome idea. What a brilliant gift idea as well. Again, Dapol just quietly working away, no fanfare, no frills. They suddenly come out with brilliant stuff like this. Absolutely amazing. Speaking of brilliant stuff, they posted an update on their new Class 323 EMU in 00, which has been very quiet up until now. Anyway, it's an engineering prototype. So this shows us that they finished the tooling then, and they now have a functioning prototype to test. And it looks really good. I mean, you can see there's great quality molding here. It looks nice and modern. The pantograph looks metal, so hopefully that's going to be good quality, hopefully sturdy as well. It's got lots of underframe detail, as you can see, plus other things like the glazing is looking really good. That's nice and flush with the outer body. The model is progressing really well. We've not heard anything at all about this for ages, so it's great to see that Dapol are working away at this behind the scenes. The price has gone up though. I think the original price was £350. It's now showing at £361.55, so it's gone up by about £10 since they announced it, but I think that was in 2023. And as much as it's a pity that the price has gone up, that is more than in line with inflation, so I guess it's fair enough. I still think the price seems relatively fair. Up next then, let's talk a bit about Rapido. Now, we're used to seeing countless new announcements from Rapido every single month. We've not seen as many announcements from them as late, but what we have seen is progress on existingly announced products. Is existingly a word? Probably not. But you know what I mean, it's lovely to see new things get announced, but it's also really important to see progress on what has already been announced. That's a better way of phrasing it. So with that, first of all, they've revealed fully decorated samples of their Midland 483 class. And look at these look absolutely brilliant. Definitely the Midland Railway Crimson stands out to me. The finish on this is exceptional, look at that. But also the S&DJR Blue is quite interesting. This looks quite toned down compared with Hornby's rendition of this livery, but I quite like that. That looks nice and subtle. Even the plainer BR Black looks very, very smart, to be fair. And there is a shot of the cab interior. This is the LMS Black's cab interior. You know, great bit of detail inside there. So yeah, this is a beautiful lineup. I mean, there is some work to be done. My eyes jump straight to those axles, which look a little bit bright for my taste. And the cracks in the lower boilers look a little bit unsavory. But again, these models haven't launched launched yet. Presumably there's still some work to be done to improve these. Hopefully Rapido will do that. The next sample they revealed was this, the decorated samples of their J52 or J13. Now it might just be the way this photo's being processed, but to me the colours here look a lot more saturated than they did on the Hornby model, which I think had quite subtle colours for Hornby really, which was a surprise. Yeah, this looks a lot more colourful if you ask me. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it will be interesting, won't it, to see how the two models compare when we can put them side by side, so that ought to be good. Also, don't forget Rapido's J13 is quite a bit cheaper than Hornby's at just £140 at the retailers. So if they can match Hornby's model or even do better, this could be a very, very tempting locomotive by Rapido, even though Hornby beat them to the market. I will be surprised if Rapido's model is as heavy as Hornby's based on their track record, and I'll also unfortunately be quite surprised if the quality matches Hornby's as well in terms of sort of metal details such as the handrails and the reverser rod, that kind of thing. Historically, Rapido have been a bit plasticky when it comes to things like that. So I think if their model is lighter and more plasticky, then that will explain the price difference. But if it is a really good quality model, then again, £140 for Rapidos will seem like a very good deal. They've also revealed decorated samples of their Evolution coaches. So here's a little shot of the Midland Railway coaches. I mean, truly beautiful. These look stunning, don't they? I think it's the clerestory roofs that do it though, isn't it? They just look fantastic. The S&DJR livery, similarly impressive, yet of course these don't have the clerestory roofs, which gives them a totally different look. I mean, it's astonishing that these are from the same range of coaches as each other. There is a lot of tooling variation here, which makes the different liveries look almost entirely different from each other. Oh, and then there's an S&DJR box. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So custom packaging then. Amazing. And finally, for now, in the photos, they revealed the teak effects on their Great Northern version. Not bad at all. It looks very good from a distance. I will be curious to see how this looks up close. And then finally, on Evolution coaches, they posted a bit of a video showing more of the coaches, this time in action. So first of all, they showed the SECR one. This one is quite eye-catching, isn't it? Loads of SECR locos available now to run these with, so that's great. They also showed the lovely LBSC ones too. Again, beautiful coaches, loads of applicable locos for these. As well as the Longmoor Military Railway. I suppose there are fewer locos in this livery, but hopefully that will soon change, of course. So there you go, that's the news on Evolution. Hopefully the next stop will be delivery, and I can't wait to see how these turn out. And then, as a late addition, Rapido did end up announcing a new model after all. It is this, an all-new Great Northern Class C2 Atlantic in tank engine form. So yeah, this is a 442, which is a very unusual wheel configuration, at least for a tank engine. And these tank engines were introduced in 1898, and 60 of them were built in total, and they survived in service all the way up until the late 1950s. And as such, they appeared in all manner of different liveries. And Rapido is covering them. So these are available in a selection of Great Northern Greens. There's a fascinating Great Northern Grey. They're doing LNER black both with lining and without. There's a wartime black, plain black, and a variety of BR blacks as well. Now, there's not that much in the way of specific specs announced yet, but they do describe a die-cast running plate, factory-fitted speakers, stay-alive capacitors, and a firebox flicker, so that all sounds pretty good, plus a wealth of detail variations depending on the example, of course. Price-wise, these start at £189.95, that's the RRP, or £161.45 at the retailers. So these are very expensive, certainly more so than Rapido's similarly sized Great Western Small Prairies, although maybe they don't expect to sell as many of these. Either way, it is a beautiful tank engine, and I can't wait to see this project progress. Next up then, a bit of an update. Next up then, an update from Rails of Sheffield, who announced a major project update. Next then, an update from Rails of Sheffield, who announced a major project update for their new Electrostar, which of course is being made for them by Accurascale. So this is a really quick turnaround, but already they have shared engineering samples of this project. Now these reveal a lot about the models. First of all, obviously the molding quality looks really good. We can see that from the photos. But more interestingly, you can see how the die-cast chassis is incorporated into these models. It's obviously made from metal, but then the higher fidelity molded plastic parts are added onto it. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the weight and the quality of the die-cast, but also the finesse and the fidelity of the injection molded plastic parts. Brilliant design. You can also see how the roofs are removable, so apparently the PCB will be under here for DCC fitting, plus only one decoder is required for the entire train, so that's pretty good. That will save some money in terms of the number of decoders you've got to buy, which is one. The removable roof also allows you to slot in interchangeable destination signs into the windows. That's a great little feature, I've not seen that before. Plus, these high up shots give us a little bit of a sneaky peek at the interior and the seating and such, which seems to be good. There's a lot of detailing to them. The interior, at least as far as we can see here, doesn't appear to be compromised by any mechanism or anything. Very, very good. They also couple together really nice and close. Look at the couplings here. So you've got these magnetic couplings, which I think look a lot better than tension locks or even a bar coupling, as we might see from Bachmann. I mean, that is a solid job, isn't it? And then of course you've got the corridor connectors, which marry up quite good and close. Wonderful little effect that. The underframe looks great as well. I mean, there is a colossal amount of detail down here and nothing missing by the looks of it. It has just got one driven bogie here, although I do notice that the non-driven wheels have separate bearings fitted. So that on its own, I think, tells you what sort of quality we are dealing with here. Nice shot of the pantograph as well. Looks very complex, this area. Look at all the parts. Yeah, this is shaping up really, really nicely. Plus, Rails of Sheffield have released a really detailed video on this, which goes into loads and loads of depth on the various features and details and such. So if you want to check that out, I'll pop a link down in the description. Well worth a watch. Next up then, a little bit of an update on Heljan. Now I don't always cover Heljan's updates because they're not always particularly interesting. Is that unpopular to say? I don't care, I can't help what I'm interested in. But this was quite interesting because they've updated us on their 122, not 121, bubble car in TT scale. And here they are, decorated samples. Now, remember, these models are extremely expensive at £189.99 at the retailers. So I am going to be looking very carefully at these models for clues as to whether or not they're actually going to be worth that money. And things are looking quite good from these photos. I mean, there's a lot of separate detail here, such as the handrails, wipers, exhausts. That all looks separate to me, just like in 00 scale, really. They've also got great underframes too, by the looks of it, with lots of details picked out. It even looks like the door handles might even be separate as well, so hopefully that is the case. Again though, these are quite a lot more expensive than Bachmann's pretty good Class 121 in 00 scale. So it's a bit of the terrier problem again, isn't it? The prices are understandable. Heljan are not going to sell very many of these, at least not compared with a 00 model. But again, from a customer's perspective, would you rather pay £189.99 for a Heljan model in tiny TT scale, or would you rather pay less for a Bachmann model, which is much larger in 00 scale, bearing in mind that Bachmann, generally speaking, have shown themselves to be a better manufacturer than Heljan. And that's the other side to this, isn't it? Historically, Heljan have not done a great job with their 00 locomotives, at least in my opinion. The accuracy and the quality and the price all leave a lot to be desired most of the time, not all of the time, but in my opinion, most of the time. If that's going to be true in TT as well, that could be a problem. These photos are making me feel a bit better about this. It looks as though they've done a really good job. Fingers crossed Heljan will be a lot better in TT than they are in 00. Finally then, I want to finish with a bit of an update on Olivia's trains. So this was a strange situation, wasn't it? And when we last left off, Rails had said that the deal was off, they were not acquiring Olivia's trains anymore, and that Olivia's trains were going to continue to operate independently. Since then, if you visited Olivia's Trains website, you would see a message that said they were closed due to retirement. So they were not going to continue as Rail said they were, they had closed down. Now though, if you visit the Olivia's Trains website, you get redirected to Rainbow Railways. So the question here is, have Rainbow Railways acquired Olivia's Trains and that's why the website redirects to the Rainbow website? Or have they just paid to have traffic from Olivia's Trains redirected to them? Now, if Rainbow did buy the Olivia's brand, then that's quite interesting, isn't it? Because it tells us that Olivia's Trains was in fact available. It just wasn't available to Rails. Or is it much simpler and literally just traffic is being redirected to Rainbow because of some sort of deal? Word is that the existing stock from Olivia's Trains has turned up on Rails of Sheffield's website, so if that is true, then that's where the stock went. That suggests that maybe, yeah, this was just a redirection thing. But either way, Olivia's Trains is no more, at least not as far as I can tell. So it looks as though the show is over, although it will be interesting to see if any ex-Olivia's Trains members of staff turn up at Rails of Sheffield in their new, what they call it, customization department, whatever it is. So yeah, very interesting story. I don't think we know all of the details of what went on. Obviously we don't, but that is the situation. Anyway, we will leave that one there. Thank you very much for watching. I just want to do a quick plug and say if you're enjoying the channel and you want to support it, you can consider becoming a channel member if you want to. For the past 6 months, I've been uploading an extra video every single week, and some of them delve into topics that I've not delved into publicly. They talk about behind the scenes of the channel, some of my secret thoughts on things. If you're interested in anything like that, and again, if you're interested in supporting the channel, look into that, and hopefully there's more content for you to enjoy there. And if you do, thanks ever so much for your support. For now though, that is it for the Model Railway News November. Loads of stuff cracking off, loads of interesting updates, and I can't wait to see what December and then beyond that 2026 brings. There are a lot of models on the way and I can't wait for them. So thanks very much for watching. Make sure you buy in lots of paper bags because Hornby's prices seem to be going in the right direction, which is good, I think, for Hornby and of course for us. So stay tuned on that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a very happy November and December, and I'll see you soon for more videos. Cheers, everybody.